pretty rainy week off and on, and so even though I said we were going to look at the goat house this week, just really haven't had time to be out there and do the build, so we'll have to look at that in the future. But what I decided to do this week was finish up some of these tables that I've been working on that I want to put in my vendor setup. I've had a lot of different setups so far, been experimenting with what's good and what works, and I've come to the conclusion that on my big, especially 10x10 setups, I have a lot of shelves and stuff, and it just takes up a lot of room. It's bulky in the car, so I thought, well, why not make some tables that I can store stuff inside? And so I'm really excited about these tables. As you can see, they have a live pine top finish, and I just used some pine plyboard down around the bottoms to give it a boxed-in feel. And like I said, best of all, it's got storage space inside. So, as you can see, it's real easy to keep so many of my shelves and stuff down here. And then we're going to build another one in today's episode, and I can use that for even more storage space for some of my crates with antiques and different stuff like that, while keeping necklaces and rocks and some of the fragile stuff inside the car. So, let's get started. So this is a pretty simple and I believe cost-effective build for what we get, which is some really nice rolling tables with storage space inside. Now, I have a project that I was doing for my aunt and uncle on the ranch a while ago. We ended up with some extra live wood, the pine slabs. So that's what I'm using for the tabletop. Those might be your more expensive part. Again, I had some as scrap, so I lucked out on that. Otherwise, all I had to buy was some 2x4s. I ended up buying basically the equivalent of 3 8-foot 2x4s. I ended up getting 6 4-foot 2x4s just to save a little bit of cutting time. And I got 2 of these pine plyboard panels. One will be the back, one will be the bottom, and one will be the front door that swings open. And then I also got 2 pine panel boards, so they're thinner. That's going to be the sides and back. Just figure you can save some money. If you want to, you can get plyboards for all of it, make it nice and sturdy, but you know, I was like, as long as everything's covered, doesn't need to, it's going to look the same, so you don't need to necessarily spend the extra money, because wood's a little expensive right now. Basically, the construction is pretty simple. Oh, and I will say, you might need an extra 2x4 because for the legs of the table, I had some scrap 2x4 in the shop already that was going to work, and it was already cut to size. But it's real simple. Basically, we're going to be building 2 rectangles and connecting them, so a large rectangular cube, putting walls on it, put some wheels on the bottom, put a top on it. So our first step, I'm going to take just 2 of these, cut them down in half, and that way we're going to make basically 4-foot by 2-foot rectangles, one for the bottom, one for the top. Now, with everything assembled, we've got it stained, got some sealant on it to give it a little bit of waterproofness since it's going to be traveling on the trailer. We just got to let it dry and then we'll assemble all our parts. In the meantime, why don't we step over to Yggi with a word from this week's sponsors. Take it away, Yggi.
Thanks, Yggi. I'll take it from here. Now, do you ever find yourself in need of some fresh new crystals, or gator paws, or a new antique for the altar? Maybe a pendulum, a new set of runes, even some spell candles, so that you can hex your enemy, or bless your loved ones. Well, come on down to Yggi's Wanderers Wyrd shop, this weekend located in Birmingham, Alabama at the Magic City Common. We've got everything you need for any of your spellcraft desires. Back to you, Yggi.
With everything dry, now it's time to add the final parts. That means the door, the wheels, and last, the top. It's been a pretty simple build so far, so let's finish it up. I went ahead and went with 3 door hinges to attach the door on this. I had to upgrade on my first build because I used some smaller hinges, and ultimately the door fell off. With the door hinges, it'll attach in a more secure way, and it won't be a problem holding up the weight. As you can see, I've already got 2 of the hinges installed. I didn't put this one quite in the middle because with this being such a long door, the weight of it's going to pull down on this upper corner. So I wanted a little extra anchor up at the top. I'll install the 3rd hinge right here, and then it's onto the wheels. Now, what failed in the first time I put hinges on is I drilled into this area right here, basically where the layers of the plyboard meet. And what that ended up doing was splitting the plywood in half, and the nails would come out when the weight dragged on it. So that's why I switched to these door hinges, so that you're drilling through the layers and it has a better hold. Now on the other side, we're going to install a little latch. This way you can have a little lock on it. Obviously it'll keep the door closed. You can lock it up if you need to leave your booth unattended overnight, or if you need to take a 30-minute break or whatever. And because there's not going to be any weight bearing on this, it'll be okay for us to drill right into the side of the plyboard. Small nails, no weight on it, won't split the wood. Now, onto the wheels. You can get some dolly wheels at your local hardware store, but that just wasn't cutting it for the weight that I needed. And I needed some big clearance on these wheels to go over thresholds and stuff for different venues. So I went online and found some professional kitchen industrial strength wheels. This set of wheels can apparently has a weight rating of 1,500 pounds, so that should be plenty more than I need. And the only thing that I had to change, I like them, I got them real cheap, they're very durable. They did come with bolts, I guess, to attach. Normally they would attach to the metal professional kitchen tables, but I'm screwing into wood, so I just went to the hardware store, picked up, rather than the lag bolts, a set of lag screws. Pretty simple to install. We'll pre-drill a little hole, put the screw in, and ratchet it down. Let's get to it. Our final step is taking our pine boards, milling down the edges so that they're smooth, so that they fit together nicely on the tabletop. Then we'll cut the excess off so that everything's even, and these tables will be good to go.
Now, as you can see, the build turned out really well. The tables match our shelf decor. Everything looks really rustic and nice. Really happy with how things turned out. As mentioned, if you're in the Birmingham, Alabama area this weekend, come check us out at Magic City Con. Next weekend we'll be in New Orleans at the Oddities and Curiosities Expo. Hope to see you then, and until then, keep wondering. Well, we're definitely going to end each episode with like 15 seconds of goats.